Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two outstanding guests, and we're going to be talking about Juneteenth celebration in Lake County. We have with us Mrs. Sylvia England, the chairperson of Juneteenth Lake County, and Karina Martinez, committee member Juneteenth of Lake County. Greetings, folks.
Hello.
We're very happy that you're taking time from your busy schedule to be with us here on the Community Forum to let Lake County know what the Juneteenth celebration is all about. And I'd like to start this off with a short prayer that I use all the time. It's God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Sylvia, we'd like for you to, as chairperson of the Juneteenth of Lake County, Illinois, to, tell us a little bit about Sylvia England and how did you get started with the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Brook, for having us first and foremost. It's quite a pleasure to be here tonight, just to, first of all, let's just honor Mr. Brooks because you have spent a lifetime telling the community about different events that are going on. So first of all, I have to say that. Thank you. Okay. I am a retired educator. Presently, I do go back into the schools. I'm working as a substitute principal in the Waukegan Public Schools. I am opening up a museum called the England Manor Underground Railroad Museum. I am the executive director for Love Notes Music Organization, and I probably could keep going because I'm still doing a lot of work in the community. Another thing is I sit on two boards. One is the Waukegan Library Board, and the other one is the Head Start Policy Council and CAP Board. So I'm sitting on those two boards presently. And I started with Juneteenth, not necessarily as the chairman, but back when I taught elementary school, I really taught a lot of Black history. So because of that, moving forward, after I didn't have that to do, go to school every day, I started working on the committee to bring it to the community. So
one of the things you didn't mention, and I'd like to highlight that, you were instructor at Tots and Tyler's Daycare Center.
Definitely, that was like the highlight of my life. How did I not talk about that? Yes, back when I first finished my first degree, I became the director of Tots and Tyler's Daycare Center.
Okay.
So thank you, Mr. Brooks, for
Now, before we get into Juneteenth, I'd like for Karina Martinez, I'm going to give you the same opportunity that I gave Sylvia. Don't tell it all. Just tell us a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Sure. So I'm the engagement and events coordinator at the Waukegan Public Library. So basically what that long title means is doing outreach and engagement in the community, particularly Waukegan. But I think the library does a good job of extending further than Waukegan. And so I like to bring programs and information about services that we do at the library and partner with different organizations, many that are involved in Juneteenth. In the library, I guess my official occupation is that, but I also do a lot of volunteering in the community. I do sit on a board as well, Latino Coalition. I grew up in Waukegan, so also Waukeganite, Bulldog. So yes, I also like to keep
myself. Did you know Cynthia Zagra then, right? Is that
Vargas?
Vargas.
Yes.
Yes. Great person.
Yes, she is.
Communications manager, I guess, for the State's Attorney's Office, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
it is
Sylvia, now, we've heard so much about Juneteenth celebration, and I congratulate you for having it annually because it's so important.
Thank you.
But let's talk about the history of it first.
So Juneteenth started all the way back in 1865. It's one of the oldest known celebrations commemorating the ending of slavery in the United States. So if you remember, back in 1863, President at that time, Lincoln, put in an order called the Emancipation Proclamation, and the Emancipation Proclamation was to end slavery in the United States.
Okay.
Well, in Galveston, Texas, they didn't know that. They didn't know that January 1st, 1863 was the Emancipation Proclamation that ended slavery. They didn't know it. So 1865, 2.5 years later, Major General Gordon Granger went to Galveston, Texas to tell them that first of all, that the war had ended, and then that they were freed.
What they had, Pony Express then, they didn't have airplanes, and they didn't have email and Facebook and to get the word out, right?
So, you know what, I've been doing a lot of research on what could have possibly happened. And I found 3 things. So I'm just gonna, talk a little bit about those 3 things. So the first story that I read about was that a messenger was on his way to tell them, but he was murdered on the way there.
Okay.
So that was one. Another one was that the enslavers, to maintain the labor force on the plantation, they deliberately withheld the news. And then the last one was that the federal troops actually waited for the slave owners to reap the benefits of one last harvest before going to Texas to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation. It's interesting, isn't it?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So it was actually in the Constitution of the United States, let's see, it was the 13th Amendment where slavery was abolished, and that was 1863.
In 1863.
Yes. Then slavery, let's see, Negroes made citizens, and then Negro made voters,
Yes.
So, and that's still in the Constitution until, the Constitution with 3/5 of a person, in these 3 amendments abolished slavery.
Yes, so the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and the 15th Amendment.
Right,
so it was 3 amendments that related to the ending of slavery, being able to vote and being considered a person,
right.
A full person.
Right. Well, tell us about the objectives now of Juneteenth.
Well, I think the most important one is to honor those African American ancestors who gave their lives and who survived the inhumane treatment of being a slave or in bondage.
Okay. That was the primary.
That was the primary objective. Another one was to encourage cultural togetherness and cooperative economics. And then another one was to celebrate the diversity of our community by sharing the rich heritage of African Americans.
Now, that was a chain of events that happened from Galveston, Texas, all the way to Waukegan, Illinois, right? And was that, I know you mentioned the Underground Railroad. People think of the Underground Railroad as an actual railroad that brought slaves up into this area. But how did they get here?
Well, thank you, Mr. Brooks, for asking. Presently, I am in the process of opening up the England Manor Underground Railroad Museum. And I'm doing that primarily because my house was a station for the Underground Railroad.
Oh,
So this museum is going to, first of all, talk about Africa, from whence we've come.
okay.
Then moving right on into the Underground Railroad, it's going to talk about 40 acres and a mule, because a lot of people don't know they should have their 40 acres and a mule. So I'm going to give them some information on
That was
40
promised.
acres. 40 acres and a mule was promised. And from 40 acres and a mule, going into the Great Migration, and then all the way to the contemporary Black America. But going back to your question about the Underground Railroad, I've taken probably 2 or 3 years to go across the country just so that I could really feel what that meant. So from the South, the slaves, they would flee, but contrary to what people think, there was not an Underground Railroad in the South per se. The Underground Railroad didn't really happen until they started getting closer to those free states, Illinois being one of them.
Okay.
And because Illinois was a free state, not until 1850 with the Fugitive Slave Act did Waukegan or Illinois feel like they have to help slaves, from being captured and taken back into slavery. So the Underground Railroad was all over the United States, primarily in the North. A lot of slaves, they ran up into Ohio, because they could go right across the lake to Canada. Canada was, they would be free in Canada.
Okay.
But same types of things that were happening in the United States were happening in Canada also. But they were free once they got to Canada. They didn't have slaves in Canada.
Okay. You mentioned the England Manor, and that's your residence at
Yes.
one of the sites of the Underground Railroad. And and another site in Gurnee, Illinois, the Mother Rudd home.
Mother Rudd.
I think I took a group of, not only students, but adults, and we got permission to go to the Historical Society to go down in the basement where the slaves were kept during the night, and they would come out, during the day, during the day, and at night they would come out and pursue their trip to Canada.
So with what you're saying now, in Waukegan, a story that's told is that there was a maid, and she would literally walk down the street with slaves. And because they worked for Mr. Corey, they never thought that they were slaves. So she was able to walk down the street with slaves in broad daylight. So, yeah, Waukegan has some stories too. And, all along Lake Michigan, you'll find a lot. But what the thing that really fascinates me about all of this is how the Civil War, the colored troops in the Civil War fought for freedom.
Okay. Right.
Yes, so anyway,
Okay.
that's I can talk about this all day. You know that, Mr. Wills.
Right.
But yeah, the colored troops in the Civil War, at first they didn't want the colored troops, but once the Union figured out that they could win, they allowed the colored troops to be a part of the Civil
In
War.
other words, they felt they could not win without.
They weren't winning without.
Okay,
They were
okay.
not winning.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So it's an economic thing too.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk with Karina. How did you get involved as a committee member in this Juneteenth celebration of Lake County?
Sure, yeah. So actually, last year, Miss England, as as trustee of our board at the Waukegan Public Library,
Okay.
reached out to my colleague, Diana Wentz, that works as a reference assistant librarian
Okay.
at the Waukegan Public Library, about doing something at the library, and then as well being a part of this celebration for the city, or now the county. And so, yeah, we jumped right on, and also on top of being a part of the committee for the city and the county, made our own event for families at the Waukegan Public Library with activities. Ms. England made a presentation, brought some pieces from her museum to share with our patrons, and so doing that again this year, having a program for families where they can learn about Juneteenth and kind of engage in what that means and different aspects of the celebration. So,
well, it's very important for you, along with Sylvia, to learn about have a celebration, because you're involved in I guess a Hispanic celebration too, annually, right? Mm-hmm. And that's usually in what, September?
Yeah. There's several dates that are, but yes, the Hispanic Heritage Month kind of encompasses a lot of the Independence Days in Latin America.
So that's also independence. It's celebrating independence.
Yeah.
It's not slavery that Sylvia's, but it's still a great celebration there. Well, let's talk about the celebration now. What's going to happen, Sylvia, and for people coming out? First of all, when is it, and time and so forth?
So the Juneteenth celebration is going to be on June the 15th.
June 15th.
At Bowen Park. And I just want to, can I give a shout out at this point for my co-chair, Dr. Harleen
This is
Shipley.
your time. It's your time to shout
So
out.
Dr. Harleen Shipley and myself are pulling together all of our resources to have this festival at Bowen Park on June the 15th. If anyone would like additional information, I'm just going to give it to you now, and I can come back and give it to you again.
Oh, yeah.
Its contact telephone number is 224-409-3421. So they can call that number and get additional information about the Juneteenth celebration. But this year, I am so excited.
Okay.
Our main stage, our headliner this year is Janelle Glory. And so she is going to be coming with her melodic singing for the Juneteenth celebration. We're going to have Grandma's Boys again.
Okay.
We're going to have Backbeat Production. They're going to be the band on stage, and they're extremely good. We're going to have some comedians, some spoken word, and some speakers. So that's the main stage.
Okay.
Do you have questions about the main stage?
Well, now you mentioned speakers. Now, these are local speakers or
There'll be
people?
local speakers.
Okay.
We'll have drumming. The Emancipation Proclamation is going to be read. We're going to have the jazz band come out from Waukegan High School.
Now, you mentioned about the Emancipation Proclamation going to be read, just in case people don't know that they're free, right?
Right. Right. We have to read it. So we're going to be reading the Emancipation Proclamation so that everybody will at least hear what's in the Emancipation Proclamation. We're going to feature an African American museum, and it's sponsored by the England Manor Underground Railroad Museum.
Okay.
So we're going to be putting in a lot of local history. We're reaching back and finding some of those families that helped to make Waukegan what it is. So they will be in the museum. Of course, Mr. and Mrs. Brooks, or Dr. and Dr. Brooks, will be in our museum this year again.
Oh, okay.
The historical house will be open so that people can go through and see what's in the historical house there in the park.
Now, that historical house, is that permanently there, and you just adding things to it?
The historical house is always there. This year, we started off with a display upstairs of all of our politicians, our political leaders. Okay. So that display is upstairs, and we're going to add some educators to that display this year also. Because as I went back and did my research, I found out that Frank Walker was probably one of the first African American teachers in Waukegan. Along with I can't remember, I can't think of his name right. But anyway, Frank Walker would have been.
Well, when you get as old as I am, there are three things get away from you. The first thing that goes is a memory. I don't remember the other two.
See, I'm getting to be your age, Mr. Brooks.
But Frank Walker is one of the historical. What he did was had invited people from. He's from Louisiana, I guess. People's teachers to come from and live in his home or in his apartments. You know.
So when I first met Frank Walker, he took me around Waukegan to help me find a house in Waukegan. So I will always be indebted to Frank Walker.
He's a realtor at that time?
He was a realtor, educator, you name it, board member.
Right.
So we'll also have a marketplace, and I'm real excited about the marketplace also. We'll have food vendors, informational vendors, and merchandise vendors. I'm just going to give you a few of the names. Okay? So we'll have the State Career School. Miss Kim King, she's going to be there, and I want to say she does, she's going to have merchandise there. Waukegan Township, their art van is going to be there.
Oh.
John Eidelberg, our sheriff, he's going to have a table there. Josephine Ahoney, she is going to be a merchandise vendor.
Okay.
We're going to have the Waukegan Fire Department. They're going to bring their smoke house, so you get a chance to walk through that. Deb's Unique Closet from Zion, she's going to be there. Illini Care Health, they're going to be there. Angela's Unique Jewelry. Stick Talk Clothing, that's Matthew Riley, he's going to be there. NAUW, Darrell Drummond is going to be there. Evelyn Karumu is going to be there, and she's going to be doing some African food vending. So I'm excited about that this year. Brittany Doxey, she's going to be there. She'll be selling some Avon. So if you need that skin so soft, Brittany will be selling it. CASA, Lake County, they'll be there to give out information. Renee Taylor is going to come. She does unique diaper care, diaper cakes. Really cute. Different. The Lynx, they're going to be there. Holly Kim, she's going to be there.
Now, Holly Kim is the newly elected Lake County Treasurer. Right?
Yes. Minochi Boutique, they're going to be there. The AKAs are going to be there. Starks Academy, Rob's Fragrance, and the Head Start.
Now, this program. It took a lot of effort, a lot of energy to put this all together, and you couldn't do it by yourself.
No.
Look, it took almost a year, I guess, to put all of this together, ready for this year. Right?
Yes. Yes, we started back in January. Now we know that we have to start in July getting this together because if we want it to grow, which it is, and I'm saying that because this year it's growing. I don't know if you saw this. This is the Waukegan Park District. They send this book out to every resident
of Waukegan.
Yeah, and if you turn here, where my little
marker
is, we were featured in the magazine this year.
Okay.
So this is good. This is a way that we will grow. So
I noticed that you have Abraham Lincoln's picture there, but are you aware that Abraham Lincoln was a black man?
See, Mr. Brooks, you're getting ready to start something.
No. I didn't bring a book with me though.
Oh, that's right, 5 presidents, right?
Yeah, but there are really 6. You remember?
That's 6 now.
There's 6 now.
That's
yeah.
Right. Okay.
There's 6 black presidents. They had black fathers, and gee whiz, I wish I could name them now, but I didn't bring the book with me. But like I mentioned about the
Jefferson Davis or
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson.
I had Dwight Eisenhower, John Harding. But what I would like for the listening audience to do is go to your search on your computer and just enter it in there, and the 6 black presidents will pop up.
Ooh.
Yeah,
okay.
Beethoven, the greatest pianist of all times, was a Moor, and they were considered blacks too,
Yeah.
So, you got Juneteenth, but entwined with Juneteenth is Black History too. You know,
Absolutely.
especially Abraham Lincoln, since he issued the executive order to free the slaves. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes, yes.
So it's going to be quite a deal now. You mentioned about Daryl Drummond. She's former vice president of the College of Lake County.
Mm-hmm. So
You know,
she'll be
so
out there
people
selling
do-
some
yeah.
awesome jewelry. She has awesome jewelry.
Is
It's
that
really,
right?
really nice jewelry.
Yeah, no,
So
my
we got,
daughter.
we got a few more, Mr. Brooks.
Oh,
We're going
okay.
to have a skill demonstration area. And in that skill demonstration area, we're going to have Sharon Epps, the
Oh,
poet.
yes. Yeah,
So
yeah.
she's going to be teaching how to write poetry.
Wow.
She is so good at it. She
Yeah.
really is.
She's an expert. She's
Yes, we're going to have hair braiding. We're going to have some barbers out there showing how they do those awesome cuts. We're going to have the master quilters. We're going to have some master gardeners. But this year we're going to have Home Depot, and they're going to be out there making those little urban boxes to do urban gardening. So they'll be there in the demonstration area. We're going to have a situational square. And this year, we're going to have a group of students who are going to come because they want to talk about how to bridge the generational gap.
Okay.
So that's going to be one of the topics. Health and wellness with Margie Taylor is going to be another one. And then another topic is going to be voter registration. You know, how to get the voters out.
That, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, who's going to be conducting that? You going to have the
I wish I
Lake County clerk?
I wish I could tell you. There's going to be several politicians there. I just don't have all of their
Okay.
names.
Okay.
So we have a whole group that's coming for that piece.
Fantastic. Well, we may have Karina come tell us about activities in the library. Since you're employee of the library, we want to let you tell us, for the people living in Waukegan, what they can expect at the Waukegan Library.
Would you also tell them about what's going to happen in the Children's Corner for
Yes,
Juneteenth?
yes.
Oh,
So we got a couple more things for Juneteenth.
Okay.
More things going on.
Yeah, so for a Juneteenth, a celebration for the county, we are leading along with the Park District, the Children's Corner that we're calling it. So we'll have activities such as coloring sheets, a button machine maker. So we have cool graphics. We did this last year too, have different figures, and the kids can cut it out and make their own button, and also beaded jewelry. Painting on canvases, and we are doing a book giveaway thanks to our friends of the library. So we'll be doing that, and again with partnership with the Park District. So that will be for the day of, and then of the county celebration. And then June 19th at the Waukegan Public Library, we're having a cooking demonstration that Ms. England actually is helping us out with. So we'll be
The home
doing
ec coming out.
Oh,
The home ec
okay.
teacher coming out.
Great.
So lots of food that we'll learn how to make, that we actually learned how to make as well. So that was a good time. So we'll be doing that, and we'll also be showing a clip of Blackish actually. So that's pretty neat, and a little history of Juneteenth, along with a giveaway that we're doing that we were able to swing. So we got some free goodies from actually the set of Blackish.
That's right.
And we recently heard that we have a grand prize too. We have a cool surprise that we'll be giving away as well. So lots of exciting things. And then we are also having free lunches for kids under the age of 18 and under the age of 21 for people with special needs. Free lunches Monday through Friday, noon to 1 p.m. at the Waukegan Public Library, along with activities before and after. No registration required, so come early. Yeah, this is the first time we're doing it, so we're very excited
Well,
about
tell us
that.
this. How do you market this? How do you get the word out?
Yeah, so we have different ways of doing that. We have, of course, your Facebook page, website, social media, as well as leaving flyers, at local restaurants, laundromats, that sort of thing, and also getting into the schools. We in years past we've always sent our what we call family flyer out to schools in the parochial as well, public schools, kindergarten to 8th grade. So we get those flyers out that way. And then events such as this one, try to attend as many as we can. Have volunteers that promote our events through their own networks. So trying to, conquer as much as we can.
We have an outstanding magazine, the What's Happening magazine there.
Right.
Ron McAllister is working. So you mentioned about, I haven't had dinner yet, so you got me. What about the culinary? You mentioned culinary. You got to have that
for the library.
Food,
Well, we're going to have Hillary's, and then I did say, what was her name? Was it Carew? Evelyn Karamu. She's going to be having some African food out there.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Well, you cannot have
definitely Hillary's. We'll have those ribs.
Yeah. And he's at all the celebrations. People love the Hillarys.
Yes. They've been around for a lot of years.
Right.
So we'll also, at the celebration, have our Greeks out there. They're going to be strolling. So we'll have our Greeks strolling out at the festival. So we're excited about that again.
Okay. So when you mention Greeks, just in case people don't understand, it's all of the sorority fraternities.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called
AKAs, Delta.
What do you call it? The Hellenic Council or Hellenic group or something like that?
Hellenic Council.
All the, oh, that's fantastic. And that's what celebration is all about, getting togetherness. And you mentioned before about it is spreading out to more cities and states are celebrating Juneteenth now too, right?
So there's Juneteenth celebrations all across the country.
Okay.
I tried to pull some of those Houston people to Waukegan. They were like, no, we have our own celebration.
Right.
Houston, Milwaukee. And that's
even.
how I started going to the celebrations. Milwaukee had this huge celebration.
Okay.
And I hear that they still do, but they have like huge celebrations across the country for Juneteenth. I was in Canada when I heard about the one in Buffalo. I couldn't get there, but it was like, okay. But there's celebrations all across the country.
You know, this really attracted me. You're trying to have these celebrations to get respect and appreciation for all of our differences, grow out of exposure and working together. And this is what you're doing, and getting people working together, the exposure and so forth. And this is what it's all about, huh?
Yes, and you know what, the thing that we really are working hard to do is bring out like people just to talk about either their business or their agencies. Last year we probably had 50 to 100 info booths. I mean, just where people came out to talk about what they're doing. And that's one way to start getting the community to start talking to each other.
Yeah.
Because when we start putting our money back in Waukegan and stop taking our money out of Waukegan, Waukegan is getting ready to do some great things again.
Okay.
And our mayor, he really is talking about making Waukegan a destination place.
Well, you're speaking about the mayor. You saw in the paper today that a $400,000 grant is coming to Waukegan to clean up the lakefront. He and Representative Snyder working together to get that. It's been approved. If they get that cleaned up, then you will draw more people into. And also, the casino signing is ready to go. The governor's ready to sign it, and that's going to benefit.
Take his pen.
Well, I know that's a question too that people, because it's going to be right in Fountain Square, and it's not. That's a question, you know.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, right. Very interesting, you know. But so along with that, another point here: getting involved and supporting Juneteenth celebration creates new bonds of friendship, we just mentioned, and understanding among us. We don't understand each other.
Yeah,
and this is one way to try to bring people together to do this. And this is what I try to do with Community Forum. It's not just not just a black show.
Right.
You know, I have all people on the show. And matter of fact, I had the state's attorney on He's playing tonight, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Mike Nerum, you know. And he's showing how he's trying to pull people together, not just prosecuting people, sending everybody to jail, but the programs that he has internally to keep people from going. And I think this is a great thing that you're doing. This indeed brightens our future, and that's the spirit of the Juneteenth. You know.
Yes.
So I really salute you in what you're doing. So actually, again, it's Juneteenth itself is June 19th, right?
June
That's the
19th.
actual date.
Right.
But you having it on the 15th, which is a Saturday, when most people available to come out.
Yes.
You have T-shirts too.
I
see
do.
you anxious to
I do.
show.
I have the Juneteenth, the official Juneteenth shirt.
Now they're available there. You can you get them ahead of time?
You can get them ahead of time by calling that number that I gave you earlier, the 224-409-3421. You can get your T-shirt ahead of time. You can walk around with your Juneteenth shirt on, or you can come to the festival and get your Juneteenth shirt.
Well, you can put myself and Daisy down. And
Got you.
I guess
Do that right now.
I guess extra large. I guess I don't know, extra large. I guess. But I don't want to feel tight in it, you know. But tell us about some other things. And that people wear that with dignity.
Yes.
You know, to celebrate. That's great. You mentioned about honoring our elders. You haven't forgotten about your elders.
No.
Right?
You know what? Our elders are so important to us because without the work that they put in, you know, many of the freedoms that we are enjoying right now would not be here.
Okay.
You know, so I give me a few seconds.
To pull yourself together.
Yes, because you know what? I started doing the research on the desegregation of the Waukegan Public Schools.
Yes.
And even though, you know, Brown versus the Board of Education was supposed to integrate our schools,
Yeah.
you can integrate schools, but if everybody lives over here, then our schools are not truly integrated. So the court system came in and said to Waukegan, you have to desegregate. So that means that you have to move some people around and send them to different schools so that integration takes place. So I mean, you know, when you talk about our elders, you know, I have so much respect for those people that came before me. I mean, you know, the Edith Smiths and the Reverend Lightfoots, even Frank Walker. I mean, Frank is like next to my heart, but you know, the Mary Swopes. Those are the people that I look up to.
Yeah.
And of course, Dr. and Dr. Brooks. I mean, they were number one.
It's Dr. Jean Swopes.
Dr. Jean Swopes.
Yeah.
You all had the largest daycare center in Lake County when I first started as the director.
Yeah. We were competing with Happy Day. Happy Day was building their center at the same time we were building ours, you know. And to show you how people working together, Mrs. What's the director? I can't think of her name. The owner of Happy Day, Mrs. Oh my goodness! But she came over to assist Daisy and giving her assistance, you know, ideas and so forth. I thought that was fantastic. So we were not competing with each other, you know,
working together.
but working together.
So I still have pictures. I have baby pictures for children that went through Tots and Toddlers back in the 80s. I have their baby pictures.
Well, Daisy has a baby with, what's the name that played on a professional championship team with Dallas Mavericks? Oh, I can't think of his name there. Shawn Marion. Shawn Marion went through in diapers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
but you got Lee England Jr. I mean, we can't do, you know, he went through Tots and Toddlers.
Lee was in diapers too, and now he's a professional violinist.
He's a professional violinist.
You know, so we have some great.
Yes, you did. But not only that, Anton went through Tots and Toddlers. Anton Davis. Anton is getting ready to be the staff person at the Pentagon.
I wonder what happened to him.
You saw, he was there, oh, okay, I'm sorry. He was there at the funeral Friday or Saturday.
Antoine was.
Anton Davis. Yes.
Oh, it's
Yes.
fantastic. Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, staff.
So I think about Jesse Jackson saying, I am somebody, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When God made man, he made every man for a purpose here. He didn't just make black man, white man, and so forth, you know. Mm-hmm. And so once we have to understand that it's on your tombstone, date of birth, dash, date of death. And so it's going to be, what did Sylvia do in that dash? That counts as far as the Lamb's Book of Life, right? Mm-hmm. So and Karina, you're going to be there too. You got a long ways to go.
We get to put Juneteenth in the book.
You got a long ways to go. So we're here as a team. God made us all, and we're trying to do our part in working together. I guess the sun did a little heavy shining on me more than no,
Mr. Brooks.
Others, you know.
No, not at all.
but we're all working together, and unless we do, we're gonna be awfully disappointed.
Yeah.
Awfully disappointed.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned Marketplace. Gee whiz, is that a new building or a new structure there in Zion? Or?
Well, the Marketplace, wow. Are you talking about for Juneteenth? Because
Juneteenth.
The Marketplace is going to be our vendors.
So we'll have that Marketplace design is a vendor.
Right,
okay.
Those are our vendors.
All right.
You know, I didn't say that Home Depot is going to have a raffle. So they're talking about bringing maybe a grill or something, I don't know. But they're talking about some big item to raffle. Mm-hmm. So that's another exciting piece. So
you got, now all of this is going to take place at Boeing Park?
At Boeing Park.
And that's on the 137 and Sheridan Road?
No, it's at the corner of Greenwood and Sheridan Road.
Oh, Greenwood, that's Greenwood.
If I didn't say that the Park District is our partner this year, let me put that on the table. Okay. Waukegan Public Library is one of our partners, and of course the England Manor Underground Railroad Museum is one of the partners this year.
Mm-hmm. This is fantastic. Mm-hmm. Then I would strongly encourage everyone to make preparation to go to the Mother Rudd home, though, for the Underground Railroad site. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't cause tears to be in your eyes, nothing will, you know, to see how see how inhuman, you know, people treat it, you know, and we all came into this world naked, and we're gonna leave naked. You know, it's amazing. But what you're doing is having a celebration and have other activities to bring people together to love one another. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't have to like each other, but we should love one another. Mm-hmm. And storytelling. Who's going to be doing storytelling?
That'll be something in the library, the Children's Corner. But also we have a group coming in who's going to be doing some face painting that dates back to the Harlem Renaissance. So we'll have that group. I want to say the AKA, someone in the AKAs will be doing that. Okay. We're going to have people out there doing blood pressure check, diabetes testing.
Was that the health department coming out, you think?
Or is that Illini Health Care, they're going to be there along with several other agencies. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They'll be out there, you know, doing blood pressure checks and things like that.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned about the craft games, canvas painting and so forth.
With the Children's Corner?
That'd be in Children's Corner. That'd be in.
And we moved, that's what I forgot to say. Okay, so we moved the Children's Corner. It's going to be closer to the main stage this year. Last year, we put the main stage because we wanted people to bring their blankets and bring their chairs
Yeah.
and sit out in, the green grass area. That's why we chose
Like
Boulevard.
Ravenna, huh?
Yes, like Ravenna. So
Like
this
Ravenna
year,
to- okay.
we're moving the stage uphill so that, it's accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
And we're asking people to bring their chairs and their blankets, to lay out in the middle, And then behind that area, we're going to have the children's corner. And then
Okay.
all around the horseshoe, we're going to have our vendors.
Okay. Make it convenient for
Yes,
everybody.
yes,
Yeah.
for everybody.
You mentioned a demonstration area. What's the demonstration
That's the
area?
one with Home Depot. But there's a person who is very, very close to my heart, and that's Josiah Henson. Josiah Henson was a slave who could have at any point in time have run away. His master was a drunkard, and so he just kind of took care of him. He went in and out of the South several times. He could have left at any point in time. He eventually did escape, and he went on into Canada. And in Canada, from Detroit, it's called midnight. You go across the water, and it's called dawn. So he started a settlement in dawn where he was teaching men how to cut the trees down and how to cut the lumber. He had a place for women to learn how to, be domesticated, cooking and cleaning and those types of things. But the thought process behind the Juneteenth is that, let's go back and show some of those skills. That Home Depot coming and building and showing people how to build those urban garden squares. So you can actually take that and put it on your porch, or take it and put it in your windowsill in your house. And then we're going to have gardeners. They're going to show us how to plant those seeds. So that we're actually learning how to be gardeners. I mean, we have to go back to that. And eating healthy starts with eating fresh food.
Okay.
So they're gonna show us how to build those urban boxes. We'll put the soil in, plant the seeds, and voila.
So what you're saying is that if you eat healthy, then you would need to take all these medicines that we're taking. I mean, because when God, made this, creates the earth, everything you need is in the ground, comes from the ground. The
Right.
vegetables, the fruits, your trees, and so forth. So if you eat that, you're eating healthy. But a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. I mean, some
Okay.
people, are taking it out of the can. No, fresh. Tomatoes, fresh tomatoes.
No, because
what
the
else.
cans you mentioned contain contaminants.
Yeah, so there's so many
and-
foods
and,
like that. I mean, and the thing that I see so much of is the childhood obesity. Because if you think about it, all these drinks, if you're not reading the label,
Okay.
that's a problem. In those drinks, there's high fructose, and high fructose is not easily digested. So where do they sit? Right here.
Okay.
So you got to kind of cut that out of your diet. But fresh fruits and vegetables, that's one of the things that we hope that people walk away with. This is what you can do to start talking about being a diabetic. Diabetics, I'm not saying that it has a strong correlation to eating too much sugar, but I'm going to say that it has a correlation to eating a lot of sugar.
Okay.
I set it up.
Okay.
You got to eat fresh fruits and vegetables.
Okay. Well, we're happy that the Waukegan Library participating, and you didn't have any effort, you didn't have any problem in participating. Like when Sylvia mentioned to me to jump, I say how high, Then tell us about the challenges that you've had in working with this committee.
None. I don't think so. I think that everyone, the committee pertaining to Juneteenth, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that everyone that's
Well,
there.
Sylvia, you must have challenges.
It was so
you've been going
interesting.
since a whole year almost, you know.
Yeah. But with the library, it's so funny that when we first started talking about a cooking demonstration,
Yeah.
you know, it was kind of interesting what came up. So of course, because I do a lot of cooking, you know, through my Mama Can Cook.
Okay.
It was a shameless plug. I'm sorry.
Well,
You know,
this is your
fried,
opportunity.
hot water cornbread. There's going to be a demonstration on how to make that. Fried potatoes, you know, sweet potatoes, you know, because sweet potatoes were huge. You know, George Washington Carver showed us all the different things that you could make with sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing banana pudding. So they'll be making banana pudding on, you know, that day, and we'll be adding fried chicken.
So what you say about this fried chicken?
Yeah, fried chicken. I mean, people don't eat fried chicken every day, but if you want to talk about a type of food that I know I grew up eating,
Yeah.
I ate fried chicken.
Yeah.
Okay, we've changed a lot since then, but fried chicken was definitely.
Okay, well, let's get a plug here, the last minute plug about Juneteenth. It started out as Emancipation Proclamation, January 1, 1863. Word slowly got to Galveston, Texas, whether it was horseback or whatever. And the word spread it all the way up to Waukegan. And so that's what how many years have been celebrated here? You've had it about...
I've done it 2 years.
2 years, right?
It's probably been done in this area about 15 to 20 years.
Okay. And we hope that it will continually be held, and we're looking forward to next year when it community forum reaching out and to let people know, because this is, you just cannot forget where you came from. If you forget where you came from, then you're subject to make that same mistake again, you know. And we're looking to going forward, right? And learn how to live together, and we got to work together and celebrate together on June 15th.
And
at Bowen Park.
At Bowen Park. And you know what we didn't say was that it's free.
Oh.
And it's very family friendly.
Yes.
Okay.
So bring your family, come out. It's free. Lots of vendors, lots of activities. You know, we want our children to come so that they will know that this is a celebration to help them to understand where they came from.
Okay. That's the key. Right there, right.
And maybe that'll change what they think about.
And then there will be role models out there too, right? You're gonna have speakers, and then you could learn from them and say, well, look, that's an opportunity for me. I can do that too, you know. Yes. Oh, we didn't mention education. You're gonna have an education booth. Actually, how's that worded? In there.
So throughout the festival, there will be pieces of education.
Okay.
You know, a lot of the vendors are going to be bringing different pieces of education. You know, especially there's going to be a lot of information out there for people to pick
you
up.
mentioned Store Channel, but books, I'm sure people be having.
Yes, and we're thankful
make
to
that books available
the
too.
Waukegan Public Library because they're going to be giving away free books in the children's area.
Okay, okay.
A lot of book sellers, so they're going to be out there talking about the books that they've written.
Okay.
So we'll have that out there. So it's it's just all over the festival. We're going to have lots of education going on.
And there'll be probably people selling books about Underground Railroad too, right? I'm sure, probably. I know we have to give a shout out to Reverend James Dorsey.
James Dorsey.
Then he
wrote a book about the Underground Railroad in Waukegan. I mean, in Lake County.
Lake County, right. Yeah. He also wrote a book about Up South.
Up South.
You know, we talk about down south, but what about up south? You know, there's so we have to get a plug in for him. He did did a great job
Yes.
in his whole life trying to write. And I keep home in it, and I can't think of. Oh, I talk about Mother Road Home, but the England Manor is where the slaves were.
It was a station.
Was one of the site too, right?
Right, on the Underground Railroad. So they would come, you know, they would come, they could possibly be sitting at your table. You wouldn't know. But when there was that, you know, somebody was in town, you know, collecting runaway slaves, then they had to hide them somehow. And I have a site. I'm 100% sure it's a site. My house was built back in 1859, and that was, you know, that was the time period for the Fugitive Slave Act.
Let's end this program on the England Manor. If anyone wants to have a breakfast in bed, you know, occasion, then they will call that number you gave, which was
224-409-3421. So it's a museum first and foremost now.
Okay.
And then there's a bed and breakfast. But we also will be doing lots of events, one coming up July the 20th.
Okay.
Called Mind, Body, and Soul, where we'll do prayer at sunrise. Yoga on deck. We're flying in a chef to do, we're going to do smooth jazz with a brunch.
Okay.
So.
Now, the Lake County, there's a museum on the
Best done.
On the site too.
Oh yes.
On the site of Juneteenth, right?
Right. The Haynes House.
Okay. And it'd be some exciting information.
Of course.
It's more than just the Brookses in there. You know, you got the former mayors and former historians there. You know.
Right. So we'll have
great event for everyone in Lake County to come out and see.
It's free.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Mrs. Sylvia England, chairperson of Juneteenth, Lake County, Illinois. And her special guest is Karina Martinez, committee member of Juneteenth of Lake County, Illinois. She's from the Waukegan Public Library, and she's been also involved in the Juneteenth celebration activities. So I want to thank you very much for sharing the information about Juneteenth, and we hope that our listening audience will support the Juneteenth celebration. It's so much information that has been promulgated to you, and hope you come out and take advantage of it. It's free.
Free from 11 to 5.
Oh yeah, 11 to 5. We didn't mention time on that.
I was thinking about that, 11 to 5.
11 to 5 on Saturday, June 15th at Bowen Park. This has been Community Forum. My name is Dr. Wardell Brooks Sr., your host.